Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to HR Repair. This is Hey Ray. Today we have a GMC Canyon. It is the 2005 model. It's a little rough around the edges, but the customer likes the thing and he wants this thing to be running. Again, it's been sitting for quite some time, he said, because he's pretty sure it's a bad body control module. So he did get another body control module. It's a used one. He stated that now it won't start at all. Before it wouldn't start. So backing up, before it wouldn't start, it would only do this right here. I've got the old body control module hooked up. As you can see, the interior's a little dirty, but nothing comes on in the dash. We do hear a chime, but there's no crank, nothing happens. So he's got the new used body control module down there unhooked. So we're going to, what I'd like to do is go ahead and hook up my scan tool to it. I want to see a little bit of what the old body control module says, and then we'll hook it up to the new body control module, new used, and see what's going on here. So I want to see, can we get this thing going? Can we reprogram it with GM programming and get this truck back on the road? It's a 5-speed manual. It's probably a farm truck. It smells a little bit like mice in here. Hopefully they haven't showed up in my shop yet. So stay tuned and we'll see if we can get this thing figured out. All right, so like I stated, I've got the old body control module hooked back up. When it came in, it had the new one on. He wanted me to just go ahead and reprogram the new one and see if that works. Now, it does cost me to get a program, get access to GM's website and get access to programming, which I need to buy a VIN slot, and then I have to buy the access to the programming tool. I use the Autel pass-through device. The Autel MaxiFlash BCMI is what I use. Hooked up to my laptop, you do have to have the business version of Windows to be able to use that for programming a GM vehicle. Now, it's really not that hard, but it just takes a little bit of knowledge of the system. So let's get this thing hooked up. I do want to see if I can communicate with the thing. He was kind of vague on what was going on, and I just kind of want to know because I'm nosy like that. So let's plug this thing in. I don't know what all he's gone through to diagnose this thing. Now, I do know that with the new BCM, we had more lights on in the dash. We had things pop up, but I really want to see what we can get off of the old BCM because we may need some information off of that one in order to get this thing to work. So let's get this hooked up and I will be right back. Okay, so we did a code scan on this thing and we can see that right away we have no communication with the BCM. We don't have any communication with the radio, which I'm not surprised because it's an aftermarket radio. Vehicle communication, we don't know if we have anything there. Digital radio. But the BCM is not communicating. Now let's look at the list here. We have crankshaft position system variation not learned, lost communications with BCM, class 2 data link, device 1 low voltage, passenger seat, class 2 data link. Those are all in history. Lost communications with the EBCM, with restraints, lost communications with ECM. Yeah, so we've got quite a few, but all of these in the instrument panel cluster are in history. So we're going to assume that those don't apply to us right now. And the customer really doesn't want me to do a whole lot of diagnosing, because he said that he's diagnosed it and he would just prefer that I go ahead and reprogram the new BCM. But me being nosy like I am, I want to know what we're dealing with here. So we're going to go ahead, plug in the other BCM, and let's see what we get here. We're not even going to be able to pull anything off of this BCM because there's no response. There's nothing that comes up. I don't think we're going to be able to even, yeah, there's nothing here. Sometimes you can do a hot functions where we can go in there, we can pull the settings off of this body control module, transfer them over to the other one, but I can't even communicate with this, so that's not going to work. So let's put the new body control module on there. Let's see if we can communicate with this one, the new one. Okay, so now we can see that we do have communication with the BCM because we have lights on in the dash. We have our fuel gauge again, 273,000 miles is what it says on the odometer. Now, does that come from the BCM? Does it come from the PCM? I'm not 100% sure. But let's just see. A while ago it wouldn't crank. Yeah, so it won't crank. Now, we have verified that it is the same part number. So technically speaking, we should be able to reprogram that one, I believe. But let's go ahead and see what kind of codes we come up with. There's probably configuration codes of some kind, would be my guess. So let's do another fault scan. All right, so we have, oops, back, escape. We do have communications with our BCM now, so we know that we had a problem with the BCM. So now let's see here. This, we have now went back into passed. This ignition has passed. Lost communications with BCM. This is history. Supplemental inflatable restraint. There's a few codes in there. Gear shift unlock circuit high. So this, yeah, what we're experiencing here is the BCM is, I believe, programmed for a automatic transmission. Gear shift unlock circuit high, in park switch circuit. The manual transmission doesn't have any of those. So what I'm going to do, we're going to do a quick erase. We're going to see how many of these codes come back. Gear shift unlock circuit high. So what we need to do now is we need to get my computer and we need to try to reprogram that body control module. I think that will allow us to start this. Then we'll see if we can do a crankshaft position variation learn. I think he might have put in a new crankshaft position sensor. I'm not 100% sure. So we'll see for sure. I need to do a little research on this one and see what we come up with that. But we definitely need to reprogram our body control module. And I believe this thing may start. So let's get our computer out. We'll get set up. A good little while later, and we're still installing updates every time. And that's why I don't have the camera running, because this takes a while at times. I'll be back when I get it hooked up. Hey, we're here. All right, so we've got our pass-through device hooked up. The VCMI is hooked up to the truck. Key is on. Battery maintainer's hooked up. So let's go ahead and connect our vehicle. And we're going through, oh boy, VCMI. Auto detect VIN. Let's try this. Should work. Whether it will or not, I don't know. let's turn the key off. You know what? I've still got this thing hooked up to it. Actually, it's disconnected now. Okay. Let's shut it down. Turn it back on. Now, I think we should be able to auto detect the VIN if it's going to work. Come on. Why does it not work? And we'll be back once I get this hooked up. Okay, here we go. All right, so what we want to do is we want to reprogram. So next, we're creating a new SPS VIN. So I've already bought the VIN. What we want to do is go into truck body control module. Why can't you just call it the body control module? Whatever. And normal programming. Next. Checking a VIN slot status. So it's saying that, yep, it's going to take one of my VIN slots. I know. Validating controller, getting programming data. Okay, so current calibrations, new software. Okay, so we need, I think, and why will it not let me overwrite this? Okay. Maybe I need to go back here. Let's go back in. All right, I'll be back shortly. Okay, I believe what we've got here is I actually need to come in here, replace and reprogram, because I thought I just needed to reprogram it since, well, you know, it's a used controller, but that's not the case. We are replacing it. So replace and reprogram. Okay, so back to truck body control module. Next, proceed. Okay. And this may not allow me to do it. I don't know that it will. Okay. I guess I'm gonna have to see what we can do here. Let me do a little poking around here. This may not be something that we can do. We went ahead, reprogrammed the vehicle theft deterrent. So, excuse me. So what I have figured out as through research on service data is that the BCM doesn't technically have to be reprogrammed. It's probably always going to throw a code for the open circuit in the shift interlock because it's thinking that this thing has an automatic transmission. Now, what does communicate with the BCM is the vehicle theft deterrent system. And the vehicle theft deterrent system sends a communication code to the BCM, and if the BCM detects that as not accurate, it will not allow this truck to run. So we have reprogrammed the vehicle theft deterrent, which is a 10-minute reprogram with the SPS system. Now, let's go ahead and see if this thing will start. Cycle the key off. And as we can see, it does start. And we have a security light. Okay, well, we can possibly fix that. We may have another issue, I don't know. However, we do have a running and idling truck. So, we'll go ahead and let's go ahead and check out our codes again. I'm going to unhook from the SPS program because I'd rather use that thing. So let's see what kind of codes we have that pop up for our security. So let's do another code scan on this thing. Okay, so we're going to, let's just go ahead and cancel out of this. We'll unplug this so that we can talk to the VCMI on here. Okay, do I have the key turned on? I believe I do, yep, sure do. Okay, let's go back. No, let's go back to auto scan. Okay. I don't think we are hooked up. We are. All right, so let's just do another fault scan. See what we come up with here. We may have to do some more reprogramming. I'm not sure. Okay, let's go to the list here. Security system, controller, and learn mode. Class 2 data link malfunction. Let me do a little research on that one. I've not done one of these, so let me do a little research on that. Let's see if we need to let this thing do a little learning maybe. Okay, research shows that B3031 will allow the truck to run and drive, but it will always have the theft detection light on. The reason is, I'll just read it off. The reason is because I believe we're seeing a problem with our ignition switch. If we come into the code description, we have the scan tool displayed DTC B3031 as a current DTC. Yes. Does it display B2957 or 2958? And we do have 2957. So we're going to have to diagnose that first before we can go ahead and repair this. So I believe what we've got going on is something in the ignition system. Now this won't keep it from running, but what it does is when a body control module is replaced, it must be programmed to accept the analog voltage signal of the existing pass lock sensor. When the BCM is replaced, the service replacement BCM is programmed to accept the first pass lock code it detects. If the BCM is unable to detect a valid pass lock code, the BCM will never end the programming sequence, and DTC B3031 will continue to be set as current. In this mode, the BCM will learn the current pass lock sensor. In this mode, the BCM will learn the current pass lock sensor code value. So, what the conditions are for setting this DTC is a new BCM has been installed and the ignition is turned on to the on, but not rotated to the crank. Once the ignition switch has been rotated to the crank, the BCM will learn the pass lock code. The theft relearn procedure will need to be run in order to make the ECM receive the correct fuel enable password. The BCM is in the learn mode but does not see a valid pass lock sensor code because of a sensor or a wiring problem. Action: when the DTC sets, it stores it in BCM memory as a current DTC. The BCM sends a message to the instrument cluster to turn on the security indicator. So, a current DTC will change to history when it detects a valid pass lock sensor code. And then the history DTC will clear after 100 consecutive ignition cycles if the condition for the malfunction is no longer present. So, if we have an open or a short in any of the pass lock sensor circuits, the BCM will be unable to read a valid code from the pass lock sensor when the program mode is active. So, always diagnose all other pass lock DTCs before diagnosing this DTC. These DTCs will affect the BCM's ability to properly read a pass lock code. So, what I've done, basically, long story short, what I've done is I've gone ahead and cleared all of my fault codes. The ones that came back are these right here. So we technically need to see what's going on with the B2957. Once we get that figured out, the B3031 should go into history, and the vehicle theft deterrent should then go off. Now, with the nature of this customer doing his own diagnostic work, I don't want to get started on that until he gives me the okay. My guess is he's going to do that himself. So long story short, we came here, we did what we needed to do, we got the truck running. Hopefully this was informational and you learned something from it. I know I did, and I know that this did not go exactly how I had planned, but I apologize that I did not get the theft deterrent reprogramming on camera, but I was not 100% sure that that was going to fix it or not, so it did. So I apologize, but it's pretty similar to what I was trying to do to the BCM, but we went into VDT. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Y'all have yourselves a wonderful day. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Also, let me know down below whether you like this style of video, whether this was helpful or not, and what I could do better. Your feedback helps me make better videos. Bye!